You know, for some weird reason on planet Earth, people think I don't like Rolexes. Wrong. I'm a boring guy. I particularly like the Datejust 41. I love it, especially with the green dial or the Joe Biden one with the blue dial. I even prefer the domed bezel to the fluted one. As you can see, I like the watch, but I have 5 alternatives to the Datejust in case you wanted to buy a Datejust. I have 5 alternatives to the Datejust that might even make you look like more of a collector and turn a bit more eyes when you walk into a room. It's What's Up with Francis. I'm Francis, and let's get into 5 options to get if you don't want to buy a Datejust. Let's get into it. Now, I really think that the Datejust is one of Rolex's most iconic watches. Now, Rolex has a lot of iconic watches, but I think that by far the Datejust is, it's iconic. How many watches are so wearable? It comes in a 36 or a 41 millimeter. You can have different bracelets, the Jubilee bracelet or the Oyster bracelet. You can even have different bezels, the fluted bezel or the domed bezel, and there's a plethora of dial options. I like the green dial, the blue Joe Biden dial, and the Wimbledon dial. Listen, to me, the Datejust is as iconic as any Rolex watch can possibly be. Today we're looking at the 41 millimeter version. It retails for about approximately $12,000. Now, that said, if you are like me and you want a more toned down, not so recognizable, but appreciated by collectors kind of watch, instead of the Datejust, I've put a list of 5 watches. Let's start with the JLC Polaris Date. Now, everybody who watches my channel knows I'm a proper JLC fanboy. Now, to me, if I'm going to spend $12,000 on a Rolex and I can spend $12,500 on a JLC, it's a no-brainer. I will go with the watchmaker's watchmaker any day. Now, the Polaris Date is a time-only watch with a date aperture. It has a beautiful full-made dial, 42 millimeters on a rubber strap. It also comes with a bracelet, but we're talking about the rubber strap version now. It is a quintessential JLC. 42 millimeters, so it's 1 millimeter bigger than the Datejust, but it wears pretty nice and comfortable. The next watch we'll talk about will be the Omega Seamaster Aqua Terra World Time. Now, understand that the Datejust is a date only. The Polaris is a Polaris Date, but now for the same price point, actually about $1,000 cheaper, for about $11,000, you are actually going to have a world timer function. You can't beat that. And Omega makes, they make amazing watches. Now, it is 43 millimeters, so slightly bigger for people who don't like big watches. You might not want to come here. It comes in a bracelet, and then I prefer it on the rubber, but like I would say, get the bracelet and then you can get the rubber in the aftermarket or from Omega. It is powered by the Omega self-winding 8938 movement. It's an Omega, so you are sure of the quality you're getting now. Let's move still to the house of Shafrasen, IWC Ingenieur. Now, if I was to tell you you could get a watch designed by Gerald Genta for just a few hundreds of dollars more than a Datejust, will that be something you'll be interested in? If you're an Entourage fan, holla. Now, I love the Ingenieur, especially the new model. Now, I kind of feel IWC missed the beat on the Ingenieur models years past, always refreshing the design, but I hope the current iteration has come to stay. They've gone back to the basics, back to the Gerald Genta models, was featured in F1 the movie, Brad Pitt wore it. Listen, it's an amazing watch. Something designed by Gerald Genta, I don't need to hype it any more than it is. Comes in a 40, well, we're talking about the 40 millimeter version. Now it's an automatic movement, great watch. Now, next is the Zenith Defy Skyline. Zenith as a brand I like the brand. There's a lot of heritage. Zenith have famously made movements for the Rolex Daytona in the past with the El Primero movement. And the Defy Skyline uses an El Primero 3620 movement. Now, the brand itself, I personally think they kind of strayed off when they had the Defy models in the mid-2000s, the very big, chunky watches. I think they were moving more in hype culture then, and I also think that fell flat. I can't remember, I don't know what it did in the market, but I was never a fan. But you cannot take away Zenith's place in modern horology and their movement-making prowess. You just can't. And this is a time only with a small seconds. It's a very nice watch. It comes on a bracelet. It's a 41 millimeter, so it's the same size with the Datejust. And I mean, listen, it has an El Primero movement, which has been housed by Rolex, so I guess it's in good company. Now, the last watch on my list today might be one a few people might not be, might be a bit skeptical about, but it's a Grand Seiko. This is the Grand Seiko Evolution H9 High Bit with the white birch dial. If you know about Grand Seiko, you know the exact, the precision they take into their dials. Now, I chose this particular one because of the dial. I'm a furniture manufacturer, so anything I see that has any wood grain makes me really happy. And this is a white birch grain finish on the dial. It comes with on a bracelet. It's 40 millimeters, powered by the SLG H005 movement. Yes. And most importantly, it's $9,000. So it's about $3,000 cheaper than a Datejust. And I would say, if you wear a Grand Seiko, you are a collector, because the layman probably thinks, or let's say the non-collector probably thinks, why spend $9,000 on a Grand Seiko when I can spend $500 on a regular Seiko? If you know, you know. Now, that's my 5 picks over the Datejust. I'm sure there are many more. I intentionally left any independent, any micro brands out of this list. If not, we'll probably go on forever. And micro brands definitely not, because we're trying to keep everything in the same price bracket, but and independents are probably higher. But yes, let's stick to this and let me hear your additions to this list. Or if you'd rather just buy your Datejust, it's still a great watch. It was fun talking watches. Stay safe, guys.